Today I'm going to show you how to sew an easy elephant binky bib. You can make it into a binky holder or just leave the trunk of that elephant down. Here's my sweet little 1-year-old man. I made him the baby size. I'll show you how to make it using snaps, but I'll also show you where to place the Velcro if you choose to use Velcro instead. For the fabric backing, I would suggest using a absorbent fabric like minky, terry cloth, a towel, flannel, fleece, anything like that. In the front, I just use cotton. You can see here I've already cut out my elephant ears. You're going to cut them mirrored, which means you're going to get the ear pattern piece, place it on your fabric, trace it out, and then you're going to flip the pattern piece over, trace it, cut it out. That'll give you a left and right ear that's appropriately sized. Do it for the front and the back of your ears. So now we're going to get our ears and lay them with the right sides together. And you're going to sew around the ears, but leaving the inner ear open. Use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Here are my ears sewn. Now I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to clip little notches around all of the curves of my ears up to the stitches, making sure not to cut through the stitches though. You want to do this so when you flip it right side out, it is nice and flat and it won't pucker where you're trying to fold those seams out. Now you're going to flip both of your ears right side out through that hole in the side. Smoothen out your seams with your finger. I'm using a closed pen, and just make sure everything is nice and flat. And go ahead and do that for both of your ears. Here's what it looks like when you've got them all turned and flattened. You can iron them if you need to. And just go ahead and put those to the side, and we're going to work on cutting out our actual bib main pattern piece. Get your front fabric and you're going to fold it in half. Get your pattern piece and the side that says cut on your fold, line that up with the fold of your fabric. Now you're going to get that and pin or clip it down in place so it doesn't move as you're tracing it. And go ahead and trace all the way around the entire bib. Once you've gotten it traced, go ahead and get your back fabric, fold it in half, and line up both of the folds of the fabric on top of each other. Pin or clip this in place if you need to, and then cut out your entire fabric all at once. Once you've gotten it cut out, go ahead and open up both of your pattern pieces. You don't have to iron them yet because we're going to be making some folds. Now we're going to work on adding the eyes to the front of our bib. So if you don't want to add eyes, you don't have to, but if you want to, this is how I do it. You still have that fold right down the middle of your front bib, and we're going to use that as a place marker to put these eye pieces. I like to use felt or a fabric that doesn't fray. So you fold your bib in half, and then you're going to fold it in half again so that you quarter off the front of your bib. This will give you your placement for your eyes. You're going to put them about 0.75 of an inch to an inch out from each corner on both sides of your bib, just like here. Pin them in place, and then you can either sew an X on top of the eyes to hold them in place, or you can sew around the diameter of them. I'm going to go ahead and sew around the diameter of them so they stay in place nice when they're washed. And just a side tip, make sure you do not iron on top of your eyes because if you're using felt, it'll kind of shrivel the edges. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is attach our ears to the front of our bib. The first thing you want to do is find your placement marks to where you're going to put them. Make a fold on the front of your bib exactly through the middle of the eyes. And make sure on each end of the bib you make small creases. You can see my creases on the right and left side of that bib here. Cut a small slit, about 1/8 of an inch, right where that crease is on both sides of your bib. That's going to show you in a minute where to line up your ears. Just a small slit, nothing too long. Now we're ready to work on our ears. The only thing that we're going to do to the ear is fold that top flap down. Just about a centimeter, nothing too wide, but just make sure you fold them the same length on both sides. You're going to fold it diagonal, not straight across, and then just pin it in place. And if you want to, go ahead and sew a basting stitch right on that left side just to hold that flap down. So that way when you're adding it to the bib, it makes it easier not to have to use your pins inside of that bib still, so you don't get poked. So go ahead and sew the basting stitch. I didn't do that here and I should have. Now you're going to fold each ear in half and cut another small 1/8 inch slit in both mid-center pieces of your ears. Once you've done that, put your left ear on the left side, your right ear on the right side, and you're going to match up the slits on your bib and your ear with the fabric's right sides together. So the back of your ear should be facing up and your bib front should be facing up. Once those slits are matched, go ahead and pin or clip them in place and do the same thing for the other side of your bib. If you're going to sew Velcro onto your elephant trunk, now's the time to do that. Get your back bib fabric piece with the right side up, and you're going to sew them right along the trunk so that when you fold it up, both pieces will match up together. Now let's work on sewing the front and back of our bib together. Get your front fabric piece and your back fabric piece and lay them with the right sides of your fabric together. Line it up all the way around your bib, and then you're going to pin or clip it in place all the way around your bib. On the right side of your bib, you're going to leave a 2 to 3 inch opening on the side and sew all the way around the rest of your bib. You're going to leave this opening so that you can flip it right side out once you're finished sewing. Use a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Once you have it all sewn, keeping the opening on the side of your bib, here's what it should look like. Here's the gap in the side that you should have left open. And now you're going to go ahead and grab your scissors and go to the trunk of your bib and cut slits in the corners up to the stitches. Don't cut through the stitches. You just want to reduce that bulk for when you flip this right side out. Now you're going to cut any extra excess fabric around your bib, and then you're going to go to every curve and cut slits with your scissors, little notches all the way up to the stitches, making sure not to cut through the stitches. And you want to do it all the way around any curves of your bib. Anytime you're sewing curves, you want to sew slowly using a small stitch, and you also want to always cut these notches so that your fabric lays flat when you go to turn it right side out. So now we're going to turn our fabric right side out after we cut all our slits and the curves. And what I do is I go ahead and put my finger in, and I start with the strap that's closest to that opening, and I pull that out first. And then I like to go all the way down to the bottom of the trunk and push it through the whole opening through there. It'll just help you with flipping that right side out a little bit easier. When you're done flipping it right side out, go ahead and get a chopstick or another seam flattening tool or a pin that's closed, whatever you have on hand, and you're going to put it inside that whole opening and go ahead and poke out all of your curves and your trunk and run it across all of your seams so that they all lay nice and flat. Once you have your fabric right side out and all of your seams nice and flat, go ahead and go to the opening of your bib, put your fingers in just like I have it here, and it will automatically flip your fabric inward, and you go ahead and pin or clip it in place while it's inward and flush with the rest of the fabric on the outside of your bib. After that, you're going to iron it flat with your iron. Make sure to put a piece of fabric on top of the front of your bib so that you don't iron on top of that felt to ruin it. And then you're going to top stitch starting at the opening of your bib all the way around your bib, except for not on the ears. Now you're done sewing your bib. You can leave it just like this and add your snaps or Velcro, or you can turn it into the Binky Bib that holds your baby's pacifiers with the trunk of the bib. I'm going to do this with snaps. If you want to do it with Velcro, you'll place it here and here, sew them in place, and then just attach your pacifier. I'm going to show you how to do it with snaps because I just love using snaps. And if you don't have a snap kit, there's a link in the description box to the kit that I use. It's very inexpensive on Amazon. So the first thing you're going to do is get your snap kit. It comes with pliers and an awl, which I'll show you in a minute. For each snap, you're going to need 4 snap pieces. The socket, which is the female version, the stud is the male version, and then you'll use 2 pointed caps. So the first thing you're going to do is get your 4 pieces. I'm using white, and you see the female version, the male version, and the 2 studs. Now you're going to get the top of your bib, fold it over about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and then get the awl that comes with your snap kit and place a hole through all the layers of fabric by just pushing it gently, right mid-center about 1 inch into each side. Now you've made the holes equally on both sides of the fabric so they'll line up correctly. Get one of your studs and place it through the top of your bib. Now you're going to flip it over onto the other side. And get your female part of your snap and place it right on top of that stud so the pointy part is out. Get your snap plier and with the clear side on top of the stud, line it up and just press firmly. That will smash the stud in place so that your snap stays in place. It's really that simple. Get your other stud and poke it up through your bib, through the back of the fabric. Get your male snap piece and place it right on top. And with the clear side of your snap plier over the stud, go ahead and press it firmly in place. And that's as simple as it is to attach snaps. So now you're done with your bib. If you've already installed the snaps or the Velcro on the bottom trunk of your bib to make it a binky holder. But if you don't want it to be a binky holder, it's just as adorable with the trunk just like it is. And now that you're done sewing, please like this video and subscribe to see all of my new easy sewing patterns.